You found yourself on another edition of Let 'Em Know Kings United, and on today's episode, the Chicago Bulls proved to me that they can respond by getting a huge win over the Indiana Pacers on my favorite mascot's birthday. The Sacramento Kings are not ready for the moment, and the Dallas Mavericks proved that, while the Cleveland Cavaliers should be embarrassed losing to the Charlotte Hornets. We got a lot to talk about on Let 'Em Know Kings United. And now, ladies and gentlemen, it is that time for the post-game reaction podcast of the Cleveland Cavaliers, Sacramento Kings, and the Chicago Bulls. This is Let 'Em Know Kings United. Let 'Em Know Nation, you already know what time it is. Welcome to another edition of Let 'Em Know Kings United, your Cleveland Cavaliers, Sacramento Kings, and Chicago Bulls post-game reaction podcast. I am your host, Skylar Weisberg. Thank you so much for tuning into today's program. And you can find Let 'Em Know Kings United, which is 100% completely free and available on your favorite podcast app, like Amazon Music, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Pandora, all that good stuff. You can also find this show on my YouTube channel, NJHawk40. If you are watching this show on YouTube, please do me a favor, hit the like button on the video, hit subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you know when the next time Let 'Em Know Kings United goes live on YouTube, and leave a positive comment down below. Give the show a follow on those platforms if you can. Please turn on your notifications so you know about the next episode. Please rate, spread the word out to your friends, and give Let 'Em Know Kings United a 5-star review on whatever podcast platform you're listening to this show on. It is an amazing way to support the podcast, and I truly appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in. The Cleveland Cavaliers should be ashamed of themselves. Absolutely ashamed of themselves. They got beat by the Charlotte Hornets 118-111. The Cavs have now not only lost 4 of their last 5 games, but they now lost the 3 seed in the East to the New York Knicks. And before I get into roasting the Cleveland Cavaliers, I got to give credit to the Charlotte Hornets here. And the reason why I need to give credit to the Charlotte Hornets is because this game was a game that it was clearly a trap. It was clearly a trap game for the Cleveland Cavaliers because they faced this team a couple of nights before, and I thought at home the Cavaliers gave me good effort. They gave me really good effort. They gave me some intensity. They gave me some urgency. They gave me some focus, and they looked connected, right? This game last night in Charlotte proved to me that the Cleveland Cavaliers are not ready for the playoffs. Although they're going to make the playoffs, they're not going to be ready to make a deep run. And to me, Brandon Miller is my MVP of the game for the Charlotte Hornets because this guy stepped up big time for the Hornets. He had a career-high 7 threes in this game and scored 31 points in the Charlotte Hornets win, which is a big win for the Charlotte Hornets. They already are eliminated from the playoffs. They're already automatically eliminated, but you can figure that the Charlotte Hornets played spoiler for the Cleveland Cavaliers getting the 3 seed and possibly played spoiler for the Cleveland Cavaliers making a big run or a deep run come playoff time. I thought the Charlotte Hornets got a whole lot of confidence and a whole lot of hope in this game. And part of it is because Cleveland did not respect Charlotte at all. I thought Cleveland was lackadaisical. I thought they were unprepared. I thought they showed no urgency at this point of the season. And it's embarrassing. It really is embarrassing because this is not the regular season at the point where it's like 2 1 to 2 weeks into the season and you feel each other out, right? You feel your opponent out, you scout your opponent. This is not the time of the year to do this crap. This is playoffs. This is winning time. For Cleveland's case, it is a time for you to get healthy. It is a time for you to lock in and get ready for the playoffs. After this loss, the Cavaliers are not ready. The Cavs are not ready. They were ill-prepared in this game. The defense was absolutely lethargic. We couldn't protect the paint. We couldn't stop them from scoring in the paint. We let Brandon Miller wide open so many times. That's why he hit 7 threes in this game. You could argue that Brandon Miller could have hit 8 of them. We were so bad at guarding Brandon Miller last night. It was just absolutely disgraceful. I mean, you can't blame Jared Allen for this. He's the only Cleveland Cavalier that was consistent or is consistent all year for the Cleveland Cavaliers. You cannot blame Max Strus for this. By the way, welcome back, Max Strus. He was really impressive in his first game back in 3 weeks due to injury. The Cavaliers, Strus had 19 points on 5 threes. You can't really blame him. Sam Merrill, 17 points. You can't really blame him. Jared Allen, Mr. Consistent, 24 points. You can't really blame him. And you cannot give enough credit to Brandon Miller in Charlotte. It was a great performance for them and a really big win for the Charlotte Hornets. But back to the Cleveland Cavaliers. I thought the Cavaliers were absolutely lethargic. And I don't know if that's the right word to describe it here. I think I can describe the Cavaliers' loss to the Charlotte Hornets in this way. Ill-prepared, didn't understand the moment, disrespected the Charlotte Hornets after the first quarter. We let our guard down, and we did not show any urgency. I thought the attitude after the hot shooting start in the first quarter for Cleveland was absolutely terrible. Absolutely terrible. I mean, it's been the MO for Cleveland for most of the year. I don't know how this team can make a big run in the playoffs if we don't get right. If we don't get our minds right, if we don't get our attitudes right and say, hey, we got to lock in. This is a Charlotte Hornets team that we beat before. We can do it again. But apparently, J.B. Bickerstaff did not like the team's attitude. And the attitude for Cleveland was absolutely disrespectful. He said our attitude toward winning and losing was not where it needed to be. We settled in the first quarter because we thought the game was over, was going to be easy because we were scoring. And if you give them confidence, you give them opportunity, it's going to come back to bite you, and it did. Are you proud of yourselves, Cleveland? Are you proud of the way that you played? Because the way you responded after a first quarter that I thought was going to be another easy game. Then you give up 69 points at the end of the first half. The defense was absolutely terrible. It was putrid. It was almost like going through the dumpster the way Cleveland played defense last night. Terrible. Terrible loss. Not only did you lose to a winnable Charlotte Hornets team, and you clearly fell into the trap. Let's be clear on that. You clearly fell into the trap. Not only that, you lose the 4 seed, or the 3 seed, to a New York Knicks team that are more of contenders than Cleveland's ever did. You were the number 2 seed in the East not too long ago, and now you're the 4 seed. Pretenders. That's what you are. The Cavaliers are pretenders. It's going to be another first-round exit for Cleveland because they don't know how to lock in. They don't know how to have urgency. They don't know how to respect opponents. They don't know how to fight. They don't know how to defend. And this is supposed to be the best defensive team in the league? Screw that. The New York Knicks already got that title. Look at how they performed against Toronto. They knew it was going to be a trap game. They knew it was going to be a game that if they showed up lackadaisical, they could fall behind. What do? 140 points on Toronto. What did we do? give up 118, and played lackadaisical defense and settled. What does that tell you? Pretenders. Pretenders. That's the ceiling of the Cleveland Cavaliers after this loss. Clear, cut, and dry. The Cleveland Cavaliers are pretenders. Don't be surprised if we get eliminated in the first round, and do not be surprised if Donovan Mitchell leaves the Cleveland Cavaliers, because he could go to the New York Knicks. As far as I'm concerned, I want Donovan Mitchell out of Cleveland. Some of you might hate me for it, but I want Donovan Mitchell out of Cleveland because that will show the Cleveland Cavaliers that you have no identity without him. Putrid. Putrid. All credit to Charlotte, though. They shot 58% from the field. Cavaliers shot 49%. But the big story is you let Charlotte in the game. You let Charlotte in the game after scoring 43-33. You outscored them in the first quarter, and then you let them into the game, and you let them outwork you for 3 quarters. That's not good enough. That is not good enough, especially in this point of the season. If it was at the beginning of the season, then I can live with it. But at this point of the season, playoff time, winning time basketball, it's unacceptable. It is unacceptable and an absolute disgrace. You wanted to disrespect them, and they gave you what you deserved. Like I said, all credit to Charlotte because Charlotte deserved it. They were more prepared. They were more locked in than the Cavs, especially after the first quarter. And Brandon Miller just simply outworked the Cavs. Simply. 31 points, 7 of 13 from 3, 6 rebounds, and a block. Miles Bridges, 17. Trey Mann, 17. Richards had 11 with 10 rebounds. I think he got his revenge after Marcus Morris hit him with an elbow last time. For Cleveland, I mean, you can't blame Jared Allen for this. He's the only guy that's been consistent for them all year. 24 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists. Strus, welcome back, 19 points, 5 of 10 from 3. Darius Garland, you suck, bro. You absolutely suck. Darius Garland needs to get the living hell out of Cleveland. 14 points, but that's not good enough. Sam Merrill is the point guard of the future with 17 points, 5-11. All of them were threes, but it's just not good enough. It is just not good enough given the context of the season. It's playoff winning basketball. And the Cavs not only lost the 4 seed, but they confirmed to me that they are pretenders because they wanted to disrespect a Charlotte Hornet team after a first quarter that they looked good. After 1 quarter, they said, you know what? We're going to win this game. The Charlotte Hornets showed y'all it's a 4-quarter, 48-minute game. And the Hornets gave the Cavs exactly what they deserved for disrespecting them and giving them hope. You talk about falling into the trap. How about collapsing? Because that's what the Cleveland Cavaliers did. An absolute collapse by the Cavs against the Charlotte Hornets. And the Cavs should be absolutely ashamed of this. Ashamed. Pretenders. Pretenders. Coming up, the Sacramento Kings got embarrassed on national television by the Dallas Mavericks. And Luka proved that the Mavs look more ready than the Kings. We'll talk about that when we come back on Let 'Em Know Kings United. Welcome back to Let 'Em Know Kings United, and it was a playoff-type atmosphere inside the Golden One Center. National television, TNT, both teams are fighting to stay out of the play-in. Well, at least one team proved that they could stay out of the play-in as the Dallas Mavericks simply cooked the Sacramento Kings 132-96. It was because the offense of the Dallas Mavericks and the tone that they set on both ends of the floor gave Dallas this win. I mean, Luka is an absolute master, okay? Luka is an MVP candidate, probably my pick to win the MVP this year. Kyrie Irving is just on another level. You add guys like Daniel Gafford. You add guys like Derek Lively, Derek Jones Jr. to come off the bench. This Dallas Mavericks is deep. This Dallas Mavericks team is dangerous. And this Mavs team is a sleeper for me to make a deep run in the Western Conference, as Luka Doncic scored 26 of his 28 points in the first half. He also added 11 rebounds and 6 assists and 3 steals. Thanks to this win, the Dallas Mavericks moved into 6th place in the Western Conference, a game ahead of the Sacramento Kings, with both teams trying to avoid the play-in. The only good thing for the Sacramento Kings is they play this team again tomorrow. So if the Kings find a way to win, which the trend is the Sacramento Kings know how to respond after losses, they have really bad, embarrassing, another blowout loss at home, but they know how to respond and they know how to win after tough losses like that. So I am a little confident in the Sacramento Kings to bounce back from this game, but my confidence level is just an understatement, because offensively and defensively, the Dallas Mavericks played one of their most complete games of the season. I thought they executed really, really well, especially in the second half. I mean, for most of the third quarter, the Golden One Center was just absolute silence, absolute quiet. I mean, you can probably hear a pin drop inside the Golden One Center. It was just that silent because the Dallas Mavericks set the tone on both ends of the floor all game long, and wire to wire, they just cruised to victory over the Sacramento Kings. And what this game really proved to me was, on national television, when the lights are brightest, when the lights come on, and it was time to perform, it was time to show up, it was time to show out, the Sacramento Kings proved that they're not ready yet. I know they had a winning season. I know they're going to the playoffs. Playoffs or play-in, it doesn't matter. The Sacramento Kings are already going to the postseason. But to me, when you look at this game, when you look at how Luka Doncic performed, when you look at how Kyrie performed, it clearly showed to me that the Sacramento Kings need a lot to work on. The Sacramento Kings have a lot to learn, and they need to learn quickly. I thought Domantas Sabonis got outplayed, despite the fact that he got his 55th consecutive double-double. Good for him, but he got outplayed by Daniel Gafford. I thought his defense was absolute masterful. It was absolutely perfect defense on a guy like Domantas Sabonis. And it was just a 22-4 run to push the advantage to 89-65 with 4 minutes left in the third quarter. Dallas at one point led by 39 in the fourth, outscoring Sacramento in the second half 74-43. That to me was a big difference in this game. I think the Dallas Mavericks made a really big statement at the hands of the Sacramento Kings, and it was just bad. It was bad. It was putrid. It was putrid to the point that Mike Brown had to blame the offense of the Sacramento Kings, because it was a really terrible second half for Sacramento. They were limited to only 39% for the field shooting and fell to 0-9 when failing to reach 100 points. That's crazy. That is crazy. For a team that had one of the most prolific offenses in the NBA last year, they are 0-9 when not reaching 100 points. That's nuts. That's nuts. Credit to the Dallas Mavericks, especially on the defensive end, because like I said, I thought the Mavs came out and set the tone on both ends of the floor. Jason Kidd said, I thought just the plays for one another on both ends was at a high. We're just trying to take what's in front of us and play the game that's in front of us. Take the one possession that's in front of us and get better. Kyrie Irving had 24 points and 8 assists. Tim Hardaway Jr. had a breakout game off the bench. 22 points, 6 assists. PJ Washington had 14 points and a season high 13 rebounds for him. He said, we hit shots. We rebounded well. We played great defense for 48 minutes, and he deserves to be happy. PJ Washington deserves to be happy because the Dallas Mavericks played one of the most complete games of the season, probably their best game of the season, at the hands of the Sacramento Kings. And as far as Sacramento, the Kings need to learn. The Kings need to learn from this, and they better respond on Friday. Because God forbid if the Dallas Mavericks come in on Friday and sweep the Sacramento Kings, there's going to be a lot of questions. There's going to be a lot of more questions than answers for Mike Brown in Sacramento. But if you are a Sacramento Kings fan that is listening to this, you need to be thinking this is a must-win game. It is clearly a must-win game for Sacramento. Dallas is a must-win for a certain extent. But more for the Sacramento Kings because you, quite frankly, own the tiebreaker over Dallas. So if you split the Dallas Mavericks tomorrow, it could be an automatic 2 games due to the tiebreaker. But you got to play better on both ends of the floor if you're Sacramento, because you cannot allow a team like Dallas to blitz you all over the floor. All over the floor. I thought Mike Brown said, offensively watching us play, I'm a little surprised at how we played. Our offense led to easy baskets for them. I thought Sacramento settled, and Dallas just took advantage of it. That's all I can say. That's all I can say about it. That's all I can say about it. All credit to the Dallas Mavericks. They completely dominated them in the second half. They set the tone on both ends, and they just outplayed Sacramento from pillar to post, especially in the second half. It's just that simple. And on national television, that's how you make a statement. Luka Doncic, 28 points, 10 assists, 11 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals. Kyrie Irving, 24 points, 3 boards, 8 dimes. Daniel Gafford, 10 points, 4 rebounds, 3 assists. Tim Hardaway Jr. off the bench, 22 points, 4 of 6 from 3-point range. PJ Washington, 14 points, 13 boards, 2 dimes, 4 of 6 from 3-point range. As far as the Sacramento Kings, Domantas Sabonis, 12 points, 11 rebounds, 9 assists, almost a trip dub. De'Aaron Fox, 18 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists. Keegan Murray, 17 points, 3 rebounds. He was 2 of 6 from 3. 3 of 4 from the foul line, which was nice. But Dallas simply played one of the most complete games of the year, and it shows the Sacramento Kings what playoff basketball is going to look like. Did the Dallas Mavericks prove that Sacramento's not ready for the playoffs? I think they did. I really think they did. Now, this could be a wake-up call for Sacramento, and they could potentially win tomorrow to split and then eventually get the tiebreaker. But if you're Sacramento, if you lose this game, then you might as well be destined for the play-in, because if the Mavs win, they're going to lock up the 6th seed, no question. So this is a must-win game for both teams, mostly for Sacramento tomorrow. Let's see if the Kings can respond. Coming up next, on my favorite mascot, Benny the Bull's birthday, the Chicago Bulls showed out against the Indiana Pacers, and they did something that no other team has done to the Indiana Pacers in over a year. What is it? I'll tell you what it is and talk about the Bulls' win on Let 'Em Know Kings United. We're back on Let 'Em Know Kings United in one of the most complete Bulls wins that I've ever seen all season. And on top of that, it was my favorite mascot, Benny the Bull's birthday last night, as the Chicago Bulls routed the Indiana Pacers 125-99 for the first time basically all year. A team held the Indiana Pacers to under 100 points, and that team was the Chicago Bulls, as all starters reached double digits in scoring, but but this victory was about the defense. The defense in this game was absolutely magnificent. It was absolutely incredible. It was just perfect. It was just perfection. If only the Chicago Bulls can play like this. If only the Bulls can, bottle this performance up, and play with this type of energy consistently. I mean, if we would have done that, the Bulls would have won maybe 40, 41, 42, maybe 43 games. It doesn't matter how many games that they could have won if they played with the same energy that I saw them play with last night against Indiana. DeMar DeRozan led the Bulls in scoring with 27, but I love the fact that we got Vooch Maine going early. He finished with 22 with 12 rebounds, but he had 6 rebounds and 6 points and 5 rebounds at one point to start this game, and then I was thinking it's a simple game. It's a simple game. We got to get Vucevic involved early and often, and that's what they did. The high-scoring Pacers were held under 100 points for the first time all year. Their previous low was 101 against Boston in a loss back on January 6th. Kobe White had 18 points to help the Bulls take the season series over the Indiana Pacers, and that's not easy to do. I don't care what team you are. It is not easy to take a season series from anybody in this league, especially for the Bulls, considering how they are fighting for their play-in lives right now, and considering that the only goal that the Bulls have, if they ever got one, because they've been complacent for basically the majority of the season, their goal now is to get a play-in game in the United Center against the Atlanta Hawks. As of right now, they are still holding to that coveted spot, but Billy Donovan was really pleased with the effort on the defensive end. He said, as a team, I thought we were very connected defensively. I really thought the way they helped each other was very important. With Indiana being such a hard team to guard offensively, the number of points they can score. Or the Bulls did a really great job on Pascal Siakam. They limited him to only 14 points after the two-time All-Star have scored 25 or more in 4 straight games, and 36 and 31 in his last 2 respectively. Nembhard scored 18 points for the Pacers, who concluded a 5-game trip at 3-2 and remained in 6th place in the Eastern Conference. The Pacers were held to 40% shooting, where the Bulls shot 50% in an often sloppy game. Siakam said, I thought we didn't have the sense of urgency early to get into the paint. Obviously, we were making shots, and I said we didn't have no juice, no real energy, kind of flat. Ayo Dosunmu scored 17 on 7 and 11, shooting including 3 of 5 3-pointers. Andre Drummond, 14 points and 11 rebounds off the bench for the Bulls. Alex Caruso had 12 points to hit double figures for the 4th straight game. Was surprised to learn his team was the first to hold the Pacers under 100 points this season. Caruso said, they seemed a little tired, but we played well. We covered for each other and didn't have any of those lapses where we give up a slip-out layup or somebody forgot to rotate and get in and battle for a rebound. The Bulls took charge late in the second quarter by outscoring and outmuscling the Pacers 22-6 in the final 6 minutes and 24 seconds to build a 64-43 halftime lead. The Bulls shot 56% while Indiana lagged at 35% in the first half. DeRozan, Drummond, and Dosunmu helped thwart the Pacers with timely buckets that wasted momentum late in the third. And by the way, I forgot to mention this. Billy Donovan said after the game that Zach LaVine, Patrick Williams, and Lonzo Ball could be in Chicago on Monday when the Bulls host the Atlanta Hawks in a very crucial game. They're continuing to rehabbing in town with the team the rest of the season. And let's not forget Javonte Green, the return of the Woo, is back in Chicago, and he really helped the Bulls get this win. I thought he was electric in this game. The way he moved without the basketball, ball, the way that he was dive cutting. This is something that the Bulls clearly lack all year long. They needed to move. They needed to dive cut. They needed to generate easy buckets. Javonte Green was the right man on the job, and my God, it is awesome to see the Woo back in the United Center in the city of Chicago, where he belongs, baby, where he belongs. This was a really awesome win for the Chicago Bulls, a win that they desperately needed, a great bounce back win after the stinker against the Washington Wizards, which I thought we would have won. I honestly thought we could have beat Washington. If we had that game back, we would have dominated them, but nevertheless, this was a good win. This was a great series win against a really high octane offense in the Indiana Pacers. Big up for the Bulls. That is a monster win for them. 50% for the field, 44% from three, 40% for the field for Indiana, 31% from three. The rebounds were 54-40 in favor of the Bulls. The assists were 28-25 in favor of the Bulls. The steals were 7-3 Bulls. Blocks 5-4 Bulls. Points in the paint 60-38 Chicago. Fast break points 11-9 in favor of the Indiana Pacers. Andrew Nembhard led the Indiana Pacers in scoring with 18 points with 5 rebounds, 2 assists, and 2 steals. He was 3 of 5 at three-point range. Miles Turner couldn't get going. He finished with 12 points and 4 rebounds. Pascal Siakam 14 points, 8 rebounds, 5 assists. I thought we did a really great job of limiting him on the defensive end. TJ McConnell, he is just an absolute pest. The Bull killer only scored 12 points with 4 assists in this game. As far as Chicago, DeMar DeRozan, 27 points, 6 rebounds, 2 assists. Kobe White, 18 points, 7 assists, 7 rebounds, 2 assists, and a steal. He didn't get going with 8 of 21 for the field, but Alex Caruso did. 12 points, 5 rebounds, 7 rebounds, 7 assists, and by the way, he just left Andrew Nembhard in the dust. I mean, my God, that crossover was nasty by Alex Caruso. There was a sniper in the building in the United Center, by the way. Ayo Dosunmu, 17 points, 3 of 5 from three-point range, 4 assists, 3 rebounds. He was hitting them with the Ayo dos tres cuatro with a lot of hot sauce. Andre Drummond, 14 points, 11 rebounds. Vucci Main, 22 points, 12 rebounds. He got it going early, and that's why, Vucevic got a rhythm. It's a simple game. You got to get the big guys going early. And Javonte Green in 19 minutes, 5 points, 4 rebounds, an assist. He was a plus 26 in nearly 20 minutes for Javonte Green. Get this guy a spot in the rotation, okay? No disrespect to Javon Carter and Batum whatsoever, but Javonte Green is the spark plug that I never thought that we needed. This was a monster win for Chicago, a great series win against an Indiana team, but you gotta keep rolling now. You gotta keep rolling. You gotta take care of business in Brooklyn and then go after it and get it against the Minnesota Timberwolves. It's gonna be a really tough task, but if the Bulls play the way they played against Indiana, we could be clicking at the right time going into the play-in, and that is exactly what the Bulls need to do. That's going to do it for today's edition of Let 'Em Know Kings United. You can find this show on your favorite podcast app like Spotify, Amazon Music, and all that good stuff, as well as YouTube. Like this video if you are watching it on YouTube. Hit subscribe to the YouTube channel. Turn on your notifications so you know about the next episode. And please leave a positive comment down below and give the show a follow, a 5-star review on whatever podcast platform you're listening to this show on. I'm your host, Skylar Weisberg. I appreciate each and every one of you for tuning in. It truly means a lot. And I will see you right back here for another edition of Let 'Em Know Kings United.